On News Hour tonight, Tinubu approves 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. Former Kaduna Electric staff protest unpaid arrears demand 88 months salary. INEC advanced 8 applications for political party registration. And away from Nigeria, post-vote violence plunges Tanzania into darkness. Hello, good evening and welcome to News Hour on Trust TV. I am Fatima Ahmed Musa and thank you so much for joining us. Now we'll begin the news with the imposed tariff. The President Bola Tinubu has approved a 15% import duty on petrol and diesel coming into the country. The new tariff is part of government's efforts to protect local refineries and stabilize Nigeria's downstream oil market. In a letter dated October 21st and made public on October 30th, the President directed the Federal Inland Revenue Service and the Nigerian Midstream and Downstream Petroleum Regulatory Authority to begin immediate implementation of the duty. The letter, signed by his private secretary, Damilotu Aderemi, followed a proposal from the executive chairman of the FIRS, Zak Adedeji. Adedeji said the new measure aims to align import costs with domestic market realities, boost local refining, and strengthening the Naira-based oil economy under the Renewed Hope agenda. He warned that duty-free fuel imports have been undercutting local producers, creating price instability and discouraging investment in domestic refining. The 15% duty is expected to increase the landing cost of petrol by about 100 naira per litre, a development that could affect pump prices nationwide. Now, the 15% import tariff on petrol and diesel is set to hit consumers hard, with pump prices projected to cross the 1,000 naira mark per litre. At the moment, petrol sells for about 925 per litre in most filling stations, but with the new tariff adding roughly 99 naira per litre, analysts say the price could climb to 1,024 or even higher in the coming months. In some parts of the country, especially outside Lagos and Abuja, the prices may rise to 1,050 or 1,100 once logistics and forex costs are factored in. The government says the move is aimed at protecting local refiners like Dangote and encouraging domestic production. But with Nigeria still importing most of its refined fuel, the cost increase will likely fall on consumers. Economists warn that higher pump prices will push up transport fares, food prices and inflation, which already stands above 30%. Nigeria now stands alone among major OPEC producers with such a higher import tariff on refined petrol and diesel, effectively taxing what it still depends on to keep the economy running. Now joining us via phone call to discuss the new import tariff is an economist, Yusho Aliu. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. Good evening in Nigeria.
Thank you so much. So tell us, what economic rationale might the government have for introducing the 15% imports on petrol and diesel at this time?
Nigeria has for a very long time been an importing ground for PMS refined product. And now, with the coming of Dangote refinery, with a capacity of above 650,000 barrels per day, which also attempted to increase production to about 1.4 million barrels per day, is a significant milestone. But the emphasis on protection has to do with government policy. If government is to protect the local refineries, then there must be attempt deliberately to reduce importation of PMS, and the best way to do it within international laws is to increase tariff. This increase of tariff will definitely raise prices of refined product locally with about 99 naira per litre. And significantly, if Dangote will take that advantage, can replace that importation and make it available and increase the capacity of production, which will be positive to the GDP. So I think it's a right step on the right direction, but measures like this have to do with the existing capacity and also the expected capacity of our refineries.
So how does this policy align with the government's renewed hope agenda?
Of course, renewed hope agenda is to renew our hope from having an importation regime or PMS to having a production of refined product within the economy. That is the hope that we are thinking. It will renew our hope of nationhood. If we can be a production zone and at the same time exporting zone of refined product, that would be a good opportunity. If you look at the number of employment that the refinery is generating and also the expected additional number of capacity of distributing this product within the same economy, and also the disappearance of international cost of bridging, all these things are disappearing. And also at the same time also with this production, our foreign exchange is now in a positive direction, so where we have more stability, and that stability is pronounced with $43 billion with the Central Bank of Nigeria. These are some of the gains.
So do you think this decision will actually protect local refineries or end up increasing hardship for consumers?
No, our relief, I have said it in the background. If you have a giant refinery that has 650 million barrels per day capacity, meaning that if you add off all the existing refineries that were the moribund refineries in Kaduna, Warri, and Port Harcourt, if you put all of them, this particular refinery it need a lot of protection from government policy, because not only that the refineries is going to provide what the domestic economy is looking, but also will be a source of getting foreign exchange to the economy, because the same refinery will be exporting, and all export is going to be reading in positive in our terms of trade.
All right, so but what long-term benefits could Nigeria gain from encouraging local refining through import tariffs?
The advantage here is, since Nigeria is oil-producing state with a big capacity and member of OPEC, we are expecting Nigeria to continue to give priority to our local refineries in terms of supply of crude oil. Not only that, we are also expecting similar investment from other investors to be assisted to fruition. And not only that, we are also expecting the moribund refineries that are existing, the government should take necessary steps to make them more accessible to start producing, so that at the end of the day, Nigeria can be a heaven in oil refining capacity in Africa that can assist African neighbors, assist international business partners, and also assist the global economy.
All right, thank you very much, Yusho Aliyu, for joining us on the News Hour.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we'll move on to more stories. The number of military officers detained over the alleged coup attempt against the government of President Bola Tinubu has risen to 42. The defense headquarters had initially announced the arrest of 16 officers over disciplinary issues, which it did not link up to the coup. But sources said that they were detained over an attempt to disrupt Nigeria's 26 years democratic run. Security sources who spoke to Daily Trust said the officers were currently being interrogated to determine their level of involvement and the extent of the alleged plan. Another source disclosed that the number of arrests could increase as the Defense Intelligence Agency, DIA, and the military police have continued tracing communication links and possible funding channels. Meanwhile, the Special Advisor on Media and Public Communication to the President, Sunday Dare, has said the presidency fully aligns with the position of the military authorities on the matter. A security analyst and a retired military officer, Bashir Galma, said the federal government might be reluctant to confirm any coup attempt publicly to avoid increasing panic or discouraging investors. He, however, cautioned that excessive denial could affect public trust if new facts later emerge. Now, President Bola Tinubu on Thursday charged the newly decorated service chiefs to act decisively against emerging security threats, warning that new snakes must be smashed right in the head before they grow. The report.
Speaking at the Council Chamber of the State House, Abuja, where the 4 security chiefs were decorated with their ranks, the president said their appointment marks the beginning of a renewed effort to ensure peace and security for all Nigerians.
Today's ceremony is beyond symbolism of swearing in. It marks the beginning of our renewed effort to ensure the peace and security of all Nigerians. A renewed one. Each of you has been carefully selected for this critical task. Security is the essential element without which everything else is rendered meaningless. There cannot be sufficient development of this fundamental aspect of human need unless we meet it. Our people and our nation must remain secure to enjoy the benefits of governance.
At the ceremony, attended by Vice President Kashim Shettima, senior government officials and the spouses of the officers who were all decorated in their respective force uniforms, the president conferred ranks on General Olufemi Oluyede, Chief of Defense Staff, Lieutenant General Wahidi Shoaib, Chief of Army Staff, Air Marshal Kennedy Aniki, Chief of Air Staff, and Vice Admiral Idi Abbas, Chief of Naval Staff. Thursday's event followed the Senate's confirmation of the nominees a day earlier after a 2-hour closed-door screening. Referring to Shoaib, who sustained injuries during previous counter-insurgency operations in the northeast, Tinubu commended the officers for their courage and teamwork.
I must at this stage say, General Shoaib, I understand you were injured, you recuperated. I saw so many stories, clips and lines of Operation Adenkai. All of you working together as a team has made the country proud. I thank our armed forces for their patriotism, diligence, and dedication to duty.
The president praised the military for reclaiming territories once held by terrorists and rescuing countless victims of abductions, but said the government would not relent until peace is fully restored. He urged the military leaders to embrace innovation, intelligence sharing, and technology-driven operations, assuring them of his administration's full backing. Tinubu also reaffirmed the military's role as the shield of the nation, urging them to uphold patriotism and discipline while safeguarding Nigerians' sovereignty.
The new servitudes say in dark times when terrorists and armed marauders held significant portion of our land, that time is over. You are the gallant officers of the armed forces who rose to the challenge and reclaimed those occupied territories back. I charge you, as the head of our nation's armed forces, to carry out your duties with patriotic zeal Nigerians expect result and not excuses. We are in a hurry to celebrate peace.
The decoration comes barely a week after the president's second major shakeup of the armed forces since assuming office. The presidency had dismissed rumors linking the reshuffle to an alleged coup plot, insisting it was aimed at injecting new direction into the security architecture.
Now, 3 days into the legislative week, the national chairman of the All Progressives Congress, APC, Professor Nentawe Yelwatda, was led into the chamber alongside Enugu State Governor Dr. Peter Mba to witness the defection of 6 lawmakers to the ruling party. Those who defected are Reps Chidi Obeta, Anayo Nwebu, Dennis Agbo, Martins Oki, and Neji Nolim, all from Enugu State, who moved from the PDP to the APC, and Rep. Daniel Asama from Plateau State, who left the Labour Party for the APC. The report.
Their letters of defection were read on the floor by Speaker Abbas Tajuddin, with the lawmakers citing intractable crises within their former parties as reasons for their decision.
This decision became necessary due to the prolonged internal crisis and unresolved leadership disputes within the PDP at both the national and state levels, which have adversely affected the cohesion and functionality of the party, especially in Enugu State. After extensive consultations with my constituents, stakeholders, and political associates in Nsukka, Igbo Ize South Federal constituency, it was collectively resolved that aligning with the All Progressive Congress APC would better serve the developmental interest of our people and enhance my capacity to deliver effective representation.
Outside the chamber, the Enugu State PDP and Labour Party members who defected to APC explained their reasons for the move. Speaking on behalf of the group, Nolim Naji, leader of Enugu State Caucus, described the defection as a bold step born out of courage, clarity, and shared determination to repositioning Enugu State for greatness.
By aligning with the APC, the party steering national transformation, we are connecting our constituency to the heartbeat of national development. This alignment will bring more projects, more jobs, better infrastructure, and greater empowerment for our youths, women, and communities. This decision wasn't made on impulse. It comes from the deep reflection and a burning desire to see our people rise above limits and take their rightful place in the national spotlight.
He lamented that the state had remained in opposition for too long and watching from the sidelines as others shaped the destiny of the nation.
Still on politics, the Independent National Electoral Commission, INEC, says 8 of the 14 pre-qualified political associations have successfully completed the upload of all required information and documentation for registration as political parties. INEC disclosed this in a statement signed by its National Commissioner and Chairman, Information and Voter Education Committee, Sam Olumeku MNI, after the Commission's regular meeting held on Thursday, October 30th, 2025 in Abuja. According to the statement, the Commission opened its dedicated online portal for document submission between September 18th and October 18th, 2025, following a briefing session for the 14 pre-qualified associations earlier in September. The 8 associations that met the documentation deadline are All Democratic Alliance ADA, Citizens Democratic Alliance CDA, Abundance Social Party ASP, and African Alliance Party AAP. Others are Democratic Leadership Alliance DLA, Green Future Party GFP, National Democratic Party NDP, and People Freedom Party PFP. INEC stated that the next phase of the process will involve a detailed assessment and verification of information and documents submitted by each association to ensure full compliance with the provision of the 1999 Constitution amended the Electoral Act 2022 and the Commission's Regulation and Guidelines for Political Parties 2022. The Commission reaffirmed its commitment to inclusivity, transparency, and the deepening of Nigeria's democratic culture as it continues the registration process. Now, the leadership crisis in Kaduna State chapter of the African Democratic Congress ADC has intensified as the state executives have declared the alleged expulsion of their key members and the appointment of new coalition leaders as null and void. Speaking at a press conference in Kaduna, the chairman of the ADC, Ahmed Tijani Mustafa, who was among those reported to have been expelled, dismissed the action as illegitimate. To report.
We are urging our...
According to him, the Kaduna State Executive's Working Committee of the ADC, they affirmed their loyalty to the national chairman, Senator David Mark, describing his leadership as a beacon of hope and inspiration. The executives accused certain individuals of trying to hijack the party structure through what they described as coalition politics that sidelined long-standing members.
The ADC in Kaduna State has been working under one umbrella, but however, as soon as the coalition arrangement began, the very people who had labored to nurture and grow the party in the last 3 years were suddenly sidelined by Mr. Patrick Ambut, forgetting that the coalition has in 7 months been a combination of PDP with the largest bloc, Labour Party, PRP, NMPP, and a fraction of the APC.
The Kaduna ADC also distanced itself from political controversies involving former Governor Nasiru El-Rufai.
We will not engage with Nasiru El-Rufai and on his fights and issues surrounding his previous interaction and associations with Governor Ubasani. Our focus remains on building and strengthening our party, not on justifying our responding to external narratives that do not concern our great party.
The party warned that the ADC will not allow external interference.
We wish to state for the records, those crying foul at the corridor of news and claiming ADC are not bona fide members of the ADC in Kaduna State.
The Ahmed Tijani, the led ADC faction, also condemned the replacement of elected local government officials that came through the 2022 State Congress. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Still in Kaduna, former employees of Kaduna Electric have staged a peaceful protest at the company's headquarters in Kaduna, demanding the immediate payment of 88 months of outstanding pension arrears and other entitlements. The protesters accused the company's management of acting unjustly by refusing to honor the terms of service under which they were disengaged. Trust TV's Bello Musa reports.
The aggrieved former staff of Kaduna Electric, who were disengaged in January 2025, gathered at the company's headquarters, carrying placards with various inscriptions expressing their frustration. According to them, while the company relied on its condition of service to terminate their appointments, it has failed to apply the same policy in settling their entitlement. They explained that the condition of service stipulates that staff who served between 5 and 9 years are entitled to proportional benefits, while those who served 9 years and above should receive 35% of their full annual emoluments.
Despite the agreement, the management decided not to pay us. They sit down in the meeting, had agreement that the management again says that they don't have the money to pay us our entitlement at once. They said they are going to pay us from ending April to 31st August. That is, they will pay it in batches. Every month, they will pay some of our colleagues. August will be the last month of the payment. Unfortunately, from the date of our sacking up to 31st August, we have not seen anything.
53-year-old engineer Sani Hussein said several meetings had been held between the disengaged staff, the company's management, and the security agencies. Despite these meetings, he said no concrete action has been taken.
You know, before staff he gets all his package must be ready. But to be surprised, to our surprise, is that his management have never arranged everything as a package to we, the disengagement staff.
Amid harsh economic realities, many of the affected workers say they are struggling to survive with their families.
We have problems. Most of us, their children have been dropped from school, some out of school children, some families are sick, some cannot be able to afford their house rent because it's lapses.
They appeal to Kaduna State Governor Senator Obasani, who earlier intervened to end an industrial action in February, to once again mediate and help resolve the issue amicably.
We're not going to take it. We want to call on the government, both the federal government, state government, the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission. Secondly, the company is owing all the disengaged staff 88-month pension area, which is yet to be remitted into our various pension accounts. Then thirdly, the exit token, we agreed that the money should be paid unfailingly this Wednesday, that is today. They decided to go and cut off the amount and send little amount of money as second payment yesterday night to today in the morning. But not everybody. Not everybody.
All efforts to reach the management of Kaduna Electric proved abortive, as security personnel denying journalists access to the company's main building. Bello Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
The federal government has disbursed $2.31 billion to federal universities to clear outstanding arrears owed to academic and non-academic staff. In a statement on Thursday by the personal assistant on special duties to the president, Kamaruddin Yusuf, the Minister of Education, Dr. Tunji Alausa, said the funds were processed through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation, adding that universities will begin to receive payments immediately. He emphasized President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's commitment to transparent, long-term reforms that guarantee staff welfare and financial sustainability. According to him, Tinubu's administration is also finalizing the release of third-party educations and pension remittance to Nigerian University Pension Management. The government announced that earned academic allowance will be fully integrated into university salaries by 2026 to ensure prompt and predictable payments, while funding for the needs assessment of Nigerian universities project has also been sustained. Alausa affirmed that all engagements with ASU and other unions are being conducted in good faith, stressing that agreements will remain within realistic budgetary limits to maintain stability in the education sector. Now, on a sad note, tragedy struck on the Lagos-Ibadan Expressway earlier today as a multiple vehicle crash claimed at least 8 lives and left several others injured. The fatal crash occurred on Kara Bridge, Inward Mowe, involving 5 articulated trucks. The Lagos State Commissioner of Police, Moshood Jimo, confirmed the incident at the scene, saying preliminary investigations point to brake failure on one of the trailers as the cause of the accident. Among the dead was a police inspector, part of an advanced team responding to the initial crash. The commissioner warned motorists, especially drivers of articulated vehicles, to exercise caution and avoid reckless driving, which he described as a leading cause of fatal road crashes. As of the time of filing this report, rescue operations by the Police, Federal Road Safety Corps, Lagos State Traffic Management Authority, and other emergency agencies were still ongoing. Authorities are urging road users to remain patient and drive responsibly so that tragedies like this can be prevented on our highways. Still in Lagos, the State Emergency Management Agency on Thursday confirmed the death of one adult male from a 3-story building that collapsed in the Apapa area of Lagos State. LASEMA also confirmed that 8 others were rescued from the building. LASEMA Permanent Secretary Olufemi Oke Sanyentolu confirmed this in a statement made available to NAN on Thursday in Lagos. Oke Sanyentolu said the agency response team arrived at the scene around 11:09 a.m. to find the building completely collapsed, trapping several workers beneath the rubble. He added that one adult male, however, had been recovered dead. from the debris. According to residents, the building had been undergoing manual demolition when it gave way, burying workers on site. Responders at the scene included officials of LASEMA, the Lagos State Fire and Rescue Service, the Lagos State Neighborhood Safety Corps, the Lagos State Building Control Agency, the National Emergency Management Agency, and the Nigeria Police. You're watching News Hour on Trust TV. Coming up, Lugbe residents decry neglected access roads, seek government intervention. There's some more when we return. Just stay with us. Welcome back. If you're just joining, this is News Hour on Trust TV. In case you missed it, here's a recap of our top stories again. We told you that Tinubu approves 15% import duty on petrol and diesel. Former Kaduna Electric staff protest on paid arrears, demand 88 months salary. Now moving on, residents of the Federal Housing Estate in Lugbe, Abuja are lamenting years of neglect as the community's main access road remains in deplorable condition. Despite regular payments of levies and service charges, they say little has been done to maintain the roads, which have now become a nightmare for motorists and commuters. Habibat Ajayi completes this report.
The once vibrant Federal Housing Estate in Lugbe now greets visitors with pothole-ridden roads, blocked drainages, and long traffic queues. Residents say the situation has persisted for years, despite consistent revenue collection by the Federal Housing Authority and the Abuja Municipal Area Council. Lugbe, one of Abuja's most populated satellite towns, was originally designed as a modern housing scheme for middle-income earners. But years of neglect, poor maintenance, have turned it into a congested settlement plagued by flooding and erosion during the rainy season.
The states in Lugbe are in a very terrible shape. It's not something you can use your mouth and say. You can as well go around and see. Is so deplorable, too bad. I've been in Lugbe since 2014. I've never seen any single contractor or any kind of maintenance on Lugbe roads, not to talk of the streets. From the side where we're at Fruit Market, down to Amak, any part in Lugbe. I've never seen any single person doing anything on the road. But we can assess it a little bit now because we are already in dry season with the little efforts of the residents here, where they try to use maybe whatever they can have their hands on to patch the road. Apart from, there's nothing like government existence around here.
Since last 9 years, nobody is doing anything, and the road is very bad. I know many governments they are passing here. We are all governments. Me too, I'm government. So we support to enjoy everything together. Even though we don't benefit in anything, at least the roadside, let them do the road for us so that we can benefit from the road. Even though we don't benefit in anywhere, but at least the road. Please, government, do it for us. We are all one Nigeria. Please, we need the road. Everywhere in Lugbe, nowhere you will mention that they do road. Nowhere. If anybody say that they finish the road in Lugbe, the person is lying.
Worst. Because when you come, some road was still manageable. But look at the old Mr. Biggs that there's a tree here, straight down there, it's abandoned. Then some that NIA quarters is already, you cannot even drive your car in there. So it's wrong, it's nonsense. If they can check around, there's no road, there's no single road in Lugbe. No, we are not saying it because of anything to add our morale. There's no single road in Lugbe.
Many residents say they have resorted to self-help efforts, sometimes mobilizing community youth to patch up the worst sections of the road. However, they note that such temporary fixes can no longer keep up with the area's growing population and heavy vehicle traffic. The poor state of the road they had has caused frequent delays, financial losses, and even altercations among frustrated commuters. Appealing to the new FCT administration, Residents are calling on Minister Nyesom Wike to intervene and restore the estate's deteriorating infrastructure.
Happy to the new government that comes on board. They say Wike is a project minister, so she try and do something. But Lugba has been abandoned for too long. I've been here since 2012, so you can see the length. So it's very, very bad. So the minister of the FCT administration and the new administration that comes on board, they should try and also look at Lugbe situation. It's terrible.
Responding to the complaints, the project manager of the FHA site office in Lugbe, Ibrahim Kalgo, says maintenance work is carried out periodically. While residents acknowledge these occasion repairs, they insist the interventions are far from adequate. As Lugbe continues to expand rapidly, calls for a sustainable and long-term infrastructure plan are growing louder than ever. Habibat Ajayi, Trust TV News, Abuja.
Our Kaduna State Governor, Senator Obasani, has reiterated his administration's commitment to improving the livestock industry, bridging infrastructure gaps, facilitating market access, and attracting private investment. Governor Obasani, represented by the Secretary to the State Government, Abdulkadir Muazzamieri, made this known at the Ala Dano Open Day held on Wednesday. The report.
The governor disclosed that Ala Foods has invested 10 million euros in establishing a state-of-the-art dairy farm at Demo Household Milk Farm in Kubau local government area. He said the Demo Farm project, which began in 2023, targets an annual milk production of between 4 and 5 million kilograms at full capacity. According to him, the investment has already boosted local milk production and created direct and indirect employment opportunities since the project began. The governor also recalled that his administration has put in place a strong institutional framework to sustain, expand, and attract more investments into the agricultural sector. He expressed delight at being part of the unveiling of the Nigeria Dairy Center of Excellence, the Sedentarization and Climate Change Resilience in Nigeria Screen project, as well as the commissioning of a yogurt factory.
Together with Ala Farms and other important stakeholders, we can put Kaduna State on the map among the leading producers of milk, not only in Nigeria but also in West Africa. Our government is aware of the challenges facing this project as conceived, but I can assure you that I remain committed to achieving the objective of this project in ways that are sustainable and beneficial to all parties. The SCREAM project will complement the efforts of the administration of Governor Obasani in empowering our farmer herders through equipping them with modern techniques and technologies to improve yield and support local sourcing, which translate into income for our herders.
Speaking at the event, the Minister of Livestock Development, Alhaji Idi Mukhtar Meha, who represented President Bola Tinubu, said the Damau Dairy Farm is a product of the federal government's local content and backward integration policy. He commended Ala Foods, the Kaduna State government, and other partners for their collaboration on what he described as a win-win initiative. The minister lamented that Nigeria currently produces only about 0.7 million litres of milk annually, far below what is needed to meet national demand.
Today, that vision is taking shape through investments such as the Ala Farm, as well as collaborations and reforms that are already yielding results. We are aware that the Damau area is becoming the dairy hub of Nigeria, thanks to its key dairy interventions, including the Ala Farm owned by Ala, the Damau Household Milk Farm, and the Dairy Development Projects.
He explained that the Damau Household Milk Farm, initiated by the Kaduna State government, is being implemented in partnership with investors and development agencies. The collaboration, he added, involves the settlement of 1,000 households and the provision of improved cattle breeds, quality pasture, veterinary services, and other essential social amenities.
Now, some residents of Jalingo, the Taraba state capital, have expressed dismay over the actions of certain security agencies who arrest parents or relatives of suspects when their children are wanted for alleged crimes. They describe the practice as unlawful and against the principles of justice. To report.
It has become a growing concern in Jalingo that some security operatives arrest parents in place of their children who are declared wanted or are being investigated for alleged offenses. The action, often intended to compel suspects to surrender, has continued to attract criticism from residents who describe it as unjust and contrary to the rule of law.
It is not good for a security man to hold a parent as ransom. You know, that maybe whether your child have committed an offense, and instead of getting the child, and they will go and take the parent. That one, it is not, obviously is not good.
Some residents said such actions are unfair, noting that not all suspects care about the detention of their parents. They said the practice is not only morally wrong, but also has no basis in law, adding that since the law grants equal rights to every adult, a son should bear full responsibility for his actions without implicating any member of his family.
Biblically, is not. Unless maybe if there is, it's happening is maybe to want to produce the original result or to want get that person so that it will reveal where the person be. But if not, it's not.
If you say an indigene of a nation at 18 years, he has the right to vote, it means he should be held accountable for his responsibilities. His actions, he should pay for it, not the act of another. It could be that the parent has guided this child in the right way, but the child is just wild.
In Nigerian constitution, it stated clearly, if a suspect, a son of a parent, commit any offense, that offense is entirely the responsibility of that child that committed the offense. The parents has not hand in it and whatsoever, so that the police cannot arrest that parent because the suspect, that is the son of that parent, run away. It's unconstitutional.
A legal expert, Barrister Isa Buba, also weighed in on the matter, explaining that no law enforcement agency has the power to arrest one person for an offense committed by another. Buba, who cited Section 7 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act, ACJA 2015, which explicitly states that no person shall be arrested in lieu of another. That Section 26 of the Administration of Criminal Justice Law, ACJL 2021, applicable in Taraba State, mirrors this same provision. However, he clarified that exceptions exist. For instance, when parents deliberately shield or obstruct the arrest of their children, in which case they may be detained for obstruction of justice, not for the offense itself.
That no law enforcement agent has powers or is empowered by law to arrest any person in lieu of another. For instance, if a child commits an offense and the child is nowhere to be found, no law empowers the law enforcement agents who comes to arrest the person, to arrest the father or to arrest the mother or to arrest the elder brother or any family member in place of the suspect.
Efforts to obtain comment from the concerned security agencies were unsuccessful as they declined to speak on the matter.
Year after year, market infernos and residential fire destroys livelihood and leave behind painful memories that are hard to forget. As the Harmattan season approaches, residents in Kano are once again gripped by a familiar fear, the fear of fire. Abdulaziz Ibrahim reports on how residents are preparing for the dry season and the government's renewed efforts to prevent future disasters.
At Kaswar Fatima, a plastic recycling hub in Kano's bustling Dakata area, 5 new workshops now stand where more than 50 shops were reduced to ashes by fire back in March. Months later, The pain still burns for many traders who lost everything in the inferno.
Our members, some of them managed to sell the little they can sell and still come back, but about 80% of us have not come back to business. Life has been very, very difficult. It has been very hectic. In fact, it is very, very unimaginable suffering that we are going through. In fact, sometimes people that are employers of labor are now seeking for money that they will feed themselves, not to talk of their families.
Kasuwar Fatima's tragedy has now become a rallying point for better fire safety practices among traders. Business owners here say they have formed a local fire watch group, improved electrical wiring, and are calling on the government to support the market's full reconstruction and provide firefighting equipment.
As you can see around, unlike before, we have our access road links to each other. We no longer keep goods jam-packed in one place without proper keeping, and we have also mandated each and every of our member, when you go into their shops, you find them with their fire extinguishers, so that immediately you have something like that from the initial stage, we can be able to curtail that particular fire incident.
From Farm Center Market to Kasuwar Quarry, Kasuwar Fatima, and even markets in rural communities, the story is the same. Recurring fire outbreaks are blamed on poor wiring, open flames, and weak adaptation to rising temperatures linked to climate change. To strengthen public awareness, authorities say 100 police officers have been trained on basic fire safety and firefighting skills, while the appointment of fire safety ambassadors aims to promote community vigilance.
We're going to be launching this campaign across all sectors, particularly in the marketplaces, across some rural communities, especially now that we are witnessing another season again.
To improve on our preparedness towards emergency on our own part is to also engage the public on the dangers attached to climate change, particularly the onset of Harmattan, and to also involve critical stakeholders in our cause.
As the Harmattan season draws near, communities across Kano are hoping these new measures will usher in a safer, fire-free season. Abdulaziz Ibrahim, Trust TV News, Kano.
Now, there is growing tension in parts of Benue State after a 54-year-old woman reportedly died from Lassa fever. Health authorities have moved in to trace contacts and prevent further spread across Ogbadibo and neighboring Opoko local government areas. The deceased, a native of Ogbadibo, died on Sunday at the Benue State University Teaching Hospital in Makurdi after laboratory tests confirmed she had contracted the disease. Fear spread quickly after a medical team from the Ministry of Health arrived in the communities to begin contact tracing. Reports say some youths seized the woman's body during burial before intervention from the state officials. Confirming the incident, Benue State Commissioner for Health, Paul Ogoche, said he personally led a team of health officials and security personnel to both local government areas. He disclosed that the private hospital and mortuary where the corpses were kept have been shut down for decontamination and investigation. Ogoche added that all hospital staff and close contacts of the deceased have been placed under surveillance, while community health education campaigns are ongoing to curb panic. He warned residents to avoid handling corpses of persons suspected to have died from infectious diseases and urged the public to promptly report any cases of prolonged fever or unexplained bleeding. You're still watching News Hour on Trust TV. We'll return shortly. Welcome back, and now we'll move to business. The Nigerian National Petroleum Company, NNPC Limited, has said that it is seeking technical equity partners to help revive 3 of its refineries, which have remained idle despite significant investment. Group Chief Executive Officer of the state oil company, Bayo Ojulari, said in a post on X on Thursday that the move was to ensure the refineries operate effectively. The refineries, with a combined capacity of 445,000 barrels per day, alongside the Dangote Petroleum Refinery, could help Nigeria end its reliance on imported fuel and become a net exporter. The development followed a previous investment to revive the moribund refineries. Former NNPC head Mele Kyari had secured external partnership worth $2.5 billion in contracts to rehabilitate the refineries. Now, away from Nigeria, Tanzania is in turmoil following Wednesday's general elections that turned violent, leaving dozens feared dead. The country remains under a total communication blackout, with internet and international phone lines cut off, making it difficult to confirm reports from the ground. According to diplomatic sources, unconfirmed reports suggest that as many as 30 people may have been killed in the post-election chaos. The polls were seen as an attempt by President Samia Suluhu Hassan to consolidate power within her ruling Chama Cha Mapinduzi party after opposition figures were jailed or barred for running. A total internet shutdown and restrictions on international calls have left citizens and observers cut off from information. Local media under strict government control have not published updates since earlier Wednesday. Schools and colleges have been shut, and civil servants have been told to work from home as gunfire reportedly continues in parts of Dar es Salaam. Rights groups have condemned what they described as a wave of terror, citing recent abductions and intimidation in the days leading up to the polls. Now for sport updates, let's join Adeni Ajishafe.
President of the Nigerian Football Federation, NFF, Alhaji Ibrahim Musa Gusau, has reaffirmed the federation's commitment to the transformation and sustainability of women's football in Nigeria, declaring that the time has come to reposition the Nigerian Women Football League, NWFL, as a truly professional and commercially viable product. Gusau commended the Nigerian Women Football League, club administrators, coaches, players, and partners for their collective sacrifices in sustaining the women's football ecosystem, while also appreciating the government and people of Rivers State for their continued support towards sport development and for hosting the year's Congress. Addressing stakeholders, Gusau emphasized the urgent need for reforms in calendar consistency, infrastructure development, and player welfare, describing them as critical to the professionalization of the league. He lamented the infrastructural challenges facing several league venues, calling for improved playing surfaces, lighting, and spectator facilities to enhance match quality and fan experience. Gusau also decried cases of unpaid wages and poor welfare among players, stressing that such situations diminish the dignity of the game. He announced that the NFF is taking decisive steps to address the matter through a national minimum wage structure for registered players to be monitored by the NFF compliance unit, alongside the introduction of mandatory insurance policies for all players. He outlined plans to reposition the NWFL as a commercially attractive brand through data-driven marketing, governance reforms, and partnership with sectors such as telecommunication, banking, and consumer goods. Gusau also announced that the NFF would work closely with the NWFL to strengthen youth development, insisting that every league club should maintain under 15 and under 17 feeder teams to ensure a continuous talent pipeline into the national teams. He added that the NFF, through its technical and development department, will support the establishment of standardized coaching and scouting programs that leverage technology for player performance tracking and talent identification. He called on the NWFL to enforce professionalism and discipline, club owners to uphold transparency and accountability, and the media to continue amplifying the league's progress with fairness and pride. The 2025 NWFL Annual General Assembly brought together club owners, administrators, technical officials, players, representatives, and members of the media to deliberate on the future direction of women's football in Nigeria. That's Sport News. I'm Joseph Peter.
And with that, we have come to the end of News Hour on Trust TV. Do not forget to watch and catch us across all our social media platforms for more news, programs, and documentaries. I'm Fatima Ahmed Musa from me and the crew. Thanks for watching.